Hello everyone, welcome to the Belt and Road Face to Face.
I think the biggest change we can say in the power sector.
We have Guada as Chinese Shenzhen or even Hong Kong.
They developed their industry in the China in the western part, and in Gawada we have a big access to the Central Asian market.
They can see the bright future. This is the biggest change.
In 2030 the estimation is like these jobs will go up to a million or 1.5 million new jobs.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Belt and Road Face to Face. Our program is co-produced by China Economic Net and Vash News Television. I am Zoon Khan from China Economic Net, and today I'm pleased to be joined in our studio by Amanullah Khan, Managing Director at Global Care, and Cheng Shijong, Senior Researcher at the Charhar Institute. Let's enter the first part of our program, Hotspot. The Belt and Road Initiative has yielded fruitful results during the past 5 years. What is the biggest change in Pakistan in the past 5 years from your own perspective? Mr. Khan.
I think the biggest change we can say in the power sector, because if we talk about 5 years back, like in 2013, we were facing a acute power shortage. In some areas there was like 20 hours of power breakdown. So I think now almost 39-40 power station has added to the national grid, and around 12,000 megawatt has been added to the national grid.
So Mr. Chung, how about yourself? How do you view the immediate returns and benefits of this initiative?
Yeah, 5 years China proposed One Belt, One Road initiative, and that includes 6 economic corridors, and China-Pakistan economic corridor is one of them. I think this is the most successful project. Now China-Pakistan CPEC has become the flagship project. So for the changes in the past 5 years, I have 5 points. The first point is that now the attention of the people has come to the economic development, social and economic development. Second is, as Mr. Han said, power sector and infrastructure. The third is, as economic develops, the security situation is much better. Though there are some incidents, but compared with 5 years ago, the situation is much better.
Consistently improving.
Yeah. The fourth point is that with the infrastructure ready, then the investment environment is much better. So Pakistan, I think, someday will become a hotspot for foreign investment. The last point is the most important, is people are confident because they can see the bright future. So this is the biggest change, I think.
So this is the 5th year that China has initiated the Belt and Road Initiative. And as we mentioned, CPEC, which is also the flagship project of this initiative, in these 5 years, a lot of attention has been from both countries as well as the international community to understand really what's happening in CPEC. And especially in the case of Gwadar, we see that a lot of international interest is being invested. So how do you perceive the developments in Gwadar, Mr. Khan, in the recent years?
In the coming years, we can see a rapid industrialization, and a lot of Chinese entrepreneurs, they are going to shift their businesses, the small industries in Pakistan. So I think the cost of doing business should be less, so it should be the competitive market.
Guada has just started. We say, because when we have Guada as Chinese Shenzhen or even Hong Kong, that is not only linkage between, in South Asia, that involves Central Asia, the western part of China, and even West Asia. So that will make Pakistan, the whole country, as a center of business and trade and business.
There's a holistic plan for Gwadar, and we already see that there are schools, hospitals, and these kinds of initiatives being taken by the Chinese companies. And also we have the free trade zone, we have an airport in the pipeline. So from your experience, do you think that the current pace is promising for the future prospects?
The good thing, as you mentioned, the western part of the China, they want to develop that part and they want to shift their industry because all the industry is on the eastern side, so they want to shift there. And one more thing, because the China and Pakistan, they both are focusing on the Central Asian countries, which are mostly landlocked countries, and the Gwadar port will be the shortest route for them. So I think if they develop their industry in the China and the western part and in Gwadar, so I think we have a big access to the Central Asian market.
And we also see that the recent development where Pakistan became a member of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, that even though Pakistan has made a lot of progress because of the National Action Plan, and these incidents are linked, how can Pakistan make it better and a more positive perception towards investment?
Backwardness is the main reason for very bad security situation. So if the economy is more and more developed, then finally this security situation will also follow, will be better.
India has been offered to join CPEC. Both Afghanistan and Iran have expressed an interest to join CPEC. So how do you think that this kind of regional coherence or compatibility, synergy can contribute to the security?
Regional cooperation actually is very important. It's important not only for one country, but for all the countries in the region. So that's why I propose India improves, at least has normal relations with the neighboring countries. And India, I think the Prime Minister, maybe next year after election, the Prime Minister will not be changed. And he has a lot of fresh ideas. You have got a new Prime Minister. So both, I believe, both the leaders have strong will, strong power. So with this position, they can do something. Maybe I wish, after some time, you have normal relations.
Iran, is like since 30 years or more than 30 years under the US sanctions. And all the trade is handled by UAE, the Iranian trade, even the exports and all the imports. Because of the sanctions, they cannot export directly or they cannot import. I think once the Gwadar port is fully operational, so Iran will be very keen to join this and it will boost their economy as well. So I think Iranians are also looking at this CPEC very keenly, and I think they must be interested to have some sort of contribution to the CPEC.
And given that this attitude towards CPEC is becoming so positive in the region as a whole, it may woo India to join as well. And now with that, let's go to the Vash News television studio and see what they're concerned about.
चशुमे गुमाना गोस्तगे 5 साला ग्वादर और अतरापी मर्दमानी नौकरी और जिंदगी या गैतरी अतकक.
Even the surrounding areas of Gwadar, even from Balochistan, I think some 70,000 plus jobs has been created, and in 2030 the estimation is like these jobs will go up to a million or 1.5 million new jobs will be there. So I think this is a great achievement, and as far as the living standard is concerned, now they have the better healthcare facilities. Some hospitals are there, doctors are there, education institutions are coming up. With the construction of airports, they will be connected with the rest of the world. Now they have the 4G internet connectivity, and almost 100,000 or more SIMs have been issued in Gwadar. So all these reflect that during these 5 years there's a
positive change. Yes, Mr. Chen.
We have to develop service industry. If service industry is developed, then there will be plenty of jobs.
Yes, and also Gwadar is beautiful. It's such a beautiful coastline. So we can see tourism emerging in the next few years. You're watching the Belt and Road Face to Face. We are moving to the second segment of our program, Figure.
The Chinese part will be less, and the Pakistani part will be more and more.
It is the same situation, in Japan, like in 1980s, Japan shift the small industry to Thailand and Malaysia.
I wish in the future, Pakistan will become an emerging market economy.
For the people of Gwadar and the surrounding area, there is a great opportunity.
He asked the minister, I give you 1 year, solve the problem of unbalance.
Now let's pay attention to a set of data. Up to June 2018, the accumulated trading volume between China and countries along the route has exceeded $5 trillion US dollars. China's foreign direct investments have been over $70 billion US dollars, and the value of the newly signed foreign contracted jobs and projects between China and countries along the route has also surpassed $500 billion US dollars. The Chinese companies have established 82 economic and trade cooperation zones in countries along the Belt and Road with a total investment of $28.9 billion US dollars. Will China's large overseas investment volume affect the local enterprises and developments? This question is very timely also because some Pakistani enterprises feel that they will be drowned by Chinese investment. How do you respond to this concern?
Yeah, definitely there is a concern among the Pakistani business community that the contracts which the previous government has signed, so it directly benefit to the Chinese entrepreneurs and the businessmen, and the Pakistanis will not get much benefit which is anticipated. But I think the new government is already announced that they will look into the contracts, and if there is like something imbalance, so they will try to renegotiate with the China. And I think shortly we will see that this concern will be removed.
Yes, Mr. Chen, as the new government comes in, we see that already Pakistani enterprises even have benefited immensely from the Chinese investment. So it's something that can further improve. How do you feel in countries, if you have other case studies or specifically Pakistan's case, that enterprises in Pakistan should feel this is a positive development?
Yeah. China is different from other countries, especially from the developed countries in the West. We have some principles, 5. The first principle is that we seek regional integration. We wish to see high integration between Chinese economy and the Pakistan economy. Second principle is that we have win-win cooperation. We make money, we wish Pakistani friends also make money. This is our policy. The third is that we try to build a community of interest and destiny, a common destiny, common interests. The fourth is that we try to help the local enterprises to establish self-reliance. In the future, little by little, it will be self-reliant. The Chinese part will be less, and the Pakistani part will be more and more. So finally, it will be Pakistani. Last is that we help the local society to develop. That is 5 principles.
When the infrastructure has improved, this is part of the Chinese investment. When Pakistan has, say, better energy situation, which is also happening, and when Pakistan has a more positive perception, investment perception, as Mr. Chen just mentioned, then how will local enterprises benefit from this?
Now the industrial zone, as Mr. Chen said, Pakistan is also planning to have some industrial zones, not only in Gawadar, because on the route,
in other parts as well.
Actually the entire route. So because in Gawadar you cannot set up everything there, so you have the long route from Gawadar to the northern to the Xinjiang.
Yes.
So you can have the industrial parks, and you can move their industry. It is the same situation, in Japan, like in 1980s, Japan shift the small industry to Thailand and Malaysia, and look what Thailand and Malaysia
have
today.
Become today.
Yeah.
This is
the same
example.
situation.
Even what China is today is because of foreign
I can foresee
investments.
in a couple of years, Pakistan is going to be like Malaysia or Thailand.
Yes, so that's the least we can foresee, and this is a very positive.
One point I want to add. We have just started. We have not, we have a long way to go. I wish in the future, not in the very far future, say 5-10 years, Pakistan will become an emerging market economy like China, India. When you have this position, then your business people, your common people, the life is entirely different. We want to see an industrial Pakistan. Yeah.
So now we go to another aspect, which is that according to the data released by the Planning and Development Commission of Pakistan, the early yielded projects of CPEC have created 38,000 job opportunities thus far, and 75% of these have been for Pakistan's local labor. It is also estimated that in the next 5 to 7 years, CPEC will create 500,000 more job opportunities for Pakistan. So what fields in Pakistan do you recommend for China to invest in?
We have a lot of raw materials like the granite and marble industry, which need investment. If we look at the future, because Pakistan is going to have a better infrastructure and some neighboring countries, so I think there's a great potential for the building materials like these wooden doors and the flooring tiles and all such kind, in which I think China have the expertise. So the Chinese entrepreneurs and the companies, they can have their factories there for the
and
local
actually,
market.
just this month we have the Mining and Minerals Expo, Marble and Minerals Expo happening in Gwadar Port. So yes, yes. So this is something that we need to draw more attention towards, because Pakistan has a lot of natural resources as well that can be of benefit to China. So do you think this and among other sectors can be beneficial for Chinese investors?
Why so many Pakistani people are unemployed, have no jobs? Because education is a problem.
It is not true that we don't have skilled people there, because a lot of engineers there are jobless.
They are jobless.
And a lot of highly educated people, but they are jobless. They are not getting their exact job according to their field.
There is also not so much link between the vocational and the education and the industry.
Yeah.
Pakistan has already signed a lot of agreements of cooperation with China for vocational training. So this is one thing we can do. What else do you recommend to improve the employment?
No, we have a lot of scholarships, but your young people normally go to universities. I pay more attention to like a secondary vocational, this kind of, short training, 3 months, half a year. So after short training, then they can be employed in the Chinese projects. We have so many projects in Pakistan. So a lot of opportunities.
Pakistan and China have a trade problem. We can trade much more than we do, and there must be immense potential. But what is that potential, Mr. Khan?
I think we need to convert this raw material into value added. So if we convert this into value added, so our youth, our people will get jobs and we can earn more. And the second point is that trade between China and Pakistan should be in the local currency instead of dollar. So this will ease the pressure on the Pakistani, we are facing the shortage of dollars. So I think this is one point.
That's possible, very possible.
Yeah.
I have only a mango story.
Okay.
Some years ago, we received our Prime Minister. The Prime Minister gave a speech in the embassy. Then he said, because there is a big deficit, mainly China export to Pakistan, so it's not balanced. Then the Prime Minister asked the Minister of Commerce. He said, Pakistani mango, like eggs, small, ugly, but so sweet, so nice. Why he asked the minister, why don't you import such nice mango?
Yeah.
I give you 1 year. Solve the problem of unbalance.
No, not only mango. Actually, Pakistan have a lot of things to offer to China. Like in a couple of years, we have seen like 300,000 metric ton or more rice is coming from Pakistan.
And Pakistan has very good milk. Pakistan is one of the world's biggest producers of milk and very high quality milk. Yes. So that could be something we can export.
We are the fourth largest in the world.
Fourth largest in the world.
And something big is that we should help Pakistan to establish the ability for export to other countries.
Yes.
That's why I propose a lot of industrial production lines, a lot of industrial parks. So you export a lot, then you have foreign currency.
Because it is true that even as a Pakistani, if we think about what can we export to China, a lot of things are in China. So now it's time for us to go to the Vash News television and see what they are concerned about.
चाहे बाजी नौकरिया बलूचिस्तान में मर्दों में चिंकस नौकरी दियक भी आया 6 बड़ी ट्रेनिंग दरकार भी.
Lot of people from other parts of Pakistan, they are moving to Gwadar just to grab the opportunities, because there is not only the jobs, because the new businesses are coming up. Somebody is opening a restaurant, some rent a car, some other businesses, mobile phones, etc., etc. So a lot of opportunities there. When I think for the people of Gwadar and the surrounding area, there is a great opportunity, and definitely they are benefiting from this opportunity.
And they are already benefiting. So Mr. Chen, I think it's also a question of how much will we know that many Pakistanis will move to Gwadar, but will the locals who are not on the same level of qualification
Yes.
be beneficiaries?
Actually, there is a very high percentage of employment of local people, but the Chinese companies, they maybe do not have knowledge, from Pakistan or from Punjab. In their mind, this is Pakistani people, this is local people.
Yeah.
So local people, because we have many technicians, we have engineers, very highly educated people, and for the common laborers, we use the local people. I think 70%, something like that.
So you're watching the Belt and Road Face to Face. Let's enter the third part of our show, culture.
Pakistani hockey team was at the top at that time, and they taught Chinese how to play hockey.
Your culture, our culture, all belong to the Eastern culture.
Pakistan should also provide them opportunities to come and prove their capabilities.
We should encourage non-government organizations to play a very active role.
So WeChat can replace the Facebook plus WhatsApp.
Please watch a short video.
In addition to the economic corridor, China and Pakistan have actively established corridors in other aspects such as education, culture, and non-governmental exchanges. 8 universities in China have set up the Urdu language discipline and established 12 China-Pakistan research centers. There are currently 25,000 people studying the Chinese language in 19 universities and 4 Confucius Institutes in Pakistan. 22,000 Pakistani students are studying Chinese, technology, and medical care in China. These figures are still rising. Besides that, many educational institutions in Pakistan also offer the Chinese language course. Confucius Institutes are also actively helping more and more Pakistanis learn Chinese and understand China.
As both of you know, what is the perception of the Chinese culture among young people in Pakistan, in your eyes, Mr. Khan?
A lot of people know about China, but they are only concerned about their economic activities. They are, not very familiar with their culture, with their rituals, with their food. Because in Pakistan, what we get, the Chinese food, that is not the authentic Chinese food.
That's not
that is,
authentic.
like Indian cuisine mixed with the Chinese. So
Very
we like
different
it.
from.
So I think we should have more culture exchange programs. And the artists, the players, the performers, they should visit regularly, from China to Pakistan, and similarly vice versa from Pakistan to China.
I have an example that's of positive cultural diplomacy, and that's of Brazil in China. So the Brazil government has invested a lot in bringing Brazilian arts like capoeira and even mixing capoeira and tai chi, and they bring their mestres to teach Chinese youth, and they are absolutely amazed. And yoga is a similar example. So Pakistan can maybe export some kind of art form?
Not only art, if you go back to 80s, I think Pakistani hockey team was at the top at that time, and they taught Chinese how to play hockey. But I can't see a Chinese team participating in any international event. So I think there is a great potential, not only for the culture programs, like in sports, like Pakistanis, they are the crazy nation about the cricket. So
cricket is
we can promote cricket and we can promote hockey. So I think the Chinese...
These two not popular in China.
No, it's not popular, but as...
it can become, if we do it
once
right.
you introduce, and people definitely will go for the new things and try
First,
to learn.
make the Chinese people to be interested in
And that is why I think that the Pakistani youth currently living in China, the students, they are very relevant.
They are ambassadors, they are promoting Pakistan, and the good thing about the students, I must say, they are true ambassadors, and they are, especially like as cricket, they have regional cricket teams, and they regularly play on Sundays, and like the culture programs, they promote the Pakistani culture in their universities and events. So,
And
the
even
food festivals.
the food festivals
Yes.
are very vibrant. So
Yes.
Pakistanis are very keen to show Chinese and other people their culture. So Mr. Chen, do you, let's talk about not only the Pakistani students as cultural ambassadors, but also the role that they play in the bigger picture of CPEC. So do you think that the Pakistani students should go back to Pakistan after they finish their studies?
I think so, because we provide so many scholarships. We train a lot of young people. After education, they should go back to Pakistan to make contribution to the economic development.
But it will also depend on what they're studying. So, Mr. Khan, do you know generally the majors that Pakistani students opt for in China?
I think not only one subject, not only the science and engineering, they are studying business, mass communication, journalism, everything.
But mostly they're engineering
Engineering,
students.
yeah.
And that is perhaps not just a coincidence, but is that Pakistan is a need for engineers in the current stage of CPEC.
Yeah, true. I think Pakistan should also provide them opportunities to come and prove their capabilities. You know, if there is no opportunity, obviously they will look for the other areas, you know, other countries. So if you have opportunities, and if you are giving Pakistani engineers less than the foreign ones, even then they feel comfortable to live in their hometown with their families. So I think we should create more jobs for the skilled people.
We should create more jobs, and we have examples where, just as you, Mr. Chen, mentioned, there can be a contract. There should be a contract of some sort that they have to contribute to CPEC or the Chinese investments in Pakistan in some way. And one of the things I've noticed is that many Chinese companies are recruiting people in Pakistan. And then they work for the Chinese project in Pakistan. So this is an example of how maybe the youth bulge can contribute very directly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the Chinese companies, you know, they prefer the Pakistanis studied in China, and now they are back home. So they know that these students are familiar with the Chinese companies' rules and regulations and the punctuality. So that's why they prefer, you know, to hire the Pakistanis, those who are studied in China.
So this is about the jobs and about the studies, but there's another cultural aspect, and that is intercultural marriages. Mr. Khan, have you heard of any examples of Chinese and Pakistanis getting married?
Yes, I have seen quite a lot Pakistani students or men, they marrying a Chinese girls, but I have never seen a Chinese girl marrying a Pakistani.
You know, I know a few examples.
Oh, really?
But it's not very public, that is true.
One is Mr. Ma, that is, he is a teacher of Chinese language in Beijing Languages Universities.
BLCU? Beijing
in Beijing. He was in Pakistan as a volunteer to teach Chinese. Then some Pakistani young people learned Chinese. Now Chinese language in Pakistan is quite popular in Pakistan.
Yes,
in
very
other countries.
popular.
Yeah. So then they met. After a period, they fell into love. So then they got married. They've got a boy 2 years old, and in the initial 2 years, they had some differences, like how to educate the boy. They have differences. They had differences, but after 2 years, the life is quite perfect.
And in some ways, the cultures are actually much more compatible than Western and Eastern cultures.
Because your culture, our culture, all belong to the Eastern culture.
Yes, family is a priority. And responsibility, duty, sense of duty and responsibility, and it's not individualistic. Now let's go to the Vash News Television and see what their question is.
चशुमा में दुई नेमगे चारों का गोश्त कने अच्छे वड़ा तिचका ए तालीमी और सकाफती चस्तेराने बाहर बुत कना.
Right now in Gawadar port, people like mostly they are on the bachelor status, and they have the long working hours, they don't have the family life, so they are also suffering, they are also missing their families. So I think it's very difficult right now, but later on we can see when, you know, we have a family culture there, and when the Chinese engineers, when they settle there and they take their families there, and you know the like Pakistani families and the Chinese families come together. So I think that would be the best time, you know,
for them to promote, play this role. Mr. Chen, how do you feel about this?
I think, you know, so far as the cultural exchanges, we should encourage non-government organizations to play a very active role because now there are so many, even in China we have non-government NGOs, and Pakistan you also have
Pakistan
NGOs.
has a lot of
Yeah.
NGOs.
So
yes.
we encourage NGOs to play an important role.
And actually, it is something very mutually beneficial. People would be happy to learn a new culture. So it's not that we should really force people to learn about Pakistan or China. If we do it right, people are interested.
I think
Encourage
WeChat can play a vital role, you know.
WeChat, so Pakistanis should
Yes.
install WeChat.
Yeah, so now most of the Pakistanis, those have linked with the Chinese, like in trade or some friendship, so they all have the WeChat account,
Yes.
because WeChat can replace the Facebook plus WhatsApp.
Yes.
It's all in one.
Yes.
And you know, once the e-commerce started in Pakistan, I think WeChat can take over, and I think Jack Ma is already working on this.
Thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye.